should be going.
All right, and we're back. It's been a little bit since we've done one of these.
Yeah, what have you been up to this week?
It's been a pretty chill week overall, actually. Just doing work, doing a little hiking. Obviously, Father's Day was today, so calling my dad. But otherwise, a pretty chill week. Just enjoying the nice weather and the East Coast not being clouded and terrible air quality.
Yeah, it was kind of nice and cool here for the most part.
A nice cool June.
Yeah. I think there was one night where it got down to like 50 during the night, which is crazy.
Man, it's been a pretty chill summer so far in terms of literal temperature.
No
settings.
No, it's been jumping around here.
Oh well,
we already had a week of 90+ degrees.
Indiana's always had a pretty odd relationship with weather. I feel like it's like much less consistent than other parts of the country.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's been nice. And then it was cool and rainy for a bunch of days. So I actually haven't watered my plants in a while because they were a bit sad. They got too much water.
That's true. They get root rot.
Yeah. So I gotta check on them again tonight, and then I'll actually put some fertilizer down on the apple trees and give everything a good soaking. Because I was gonna soak last night, but I checked the top of the soil, even on the stuff that needs regular watering, because the trees don't need it every day. And the soil was still wet, so I'm like, I'm not gonna put more water on there. I don't want to drown it. So, but the tomatoes are coming up. There's a couple of flowers already. They're not quite as big as I'd like them to be, but I didn't seed them indoors before I planted them outdoors. I just planted directly outdoors.
But they're growing.
They're growing. And the apples are going up. I've been fighting aphids, though, on the apples. I didn't even realize apple trees could get aphids, unlike not the fruit.
Like on the leaves?
Yeah.
I thought aphids only ate leaves.
Well, they suck sap and then get nutrients from that, but I didn't.
You never read the Very Hungry Caterpillar?
Yeah, but that's a caterpillar. They eat leaves. Aphids suck sap. There's a difference. Because, like, if you walk around outside, if that was the case, aphids should cover just literally everything, because they're literally born pregnant.
Goodness. Happy Father's Day.
Yeah. But yeah, I think they can only get the new growth on the apples because that's where they were concentrated. So I've been
the breeding ground, so to speak.
Well, they just coat the bud as the leaf starts coming out.
Yeah.
And so I've got a solution of water and some neem oil and a little bit of dish soap. The dish soap dries them out and kills them, and the neem oil prevents them from coming back. They don't like it. So I last night I looked and there weren't any as far as I could see. There was something else, but I gotta take. I think there was a caterpillar on one of them, and I gave him a spritz with the stuff. I'm like, get out of here! I don't want to deal with you either.
Very hungry caterpillar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of sucks.
So I gotta.
Bugs are gross. I'll say it
today. But hopefully soon I'll start getting some tomatoes.
You're being a good plant daddy.
Yeah. A bunch of the apples are going away here soon. They're getting planted permanently at relatives' places.
Oh, nice. They'll be able to grow nice and big.
Yeah. Yeah, so my parents are taking one. My grandma wants one for her new house, and then my cousin wants one for her new house.
You'll be the generational. Everyone will be like, Sam planted that. You'll be known for centuries to come.
No, They'll probably be like, oh, there's an apple tree. Well, you want to get on into it?
I say we do.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Audio Shop podcast. This week, we are looking at some new King Gizzard. We've got the new album.
A new King Gizzard release. Who would have predicted it?
Surely not me. It's not like they do at least 6 of these a year.
They are a let's call them a consistent band in terms of their releases.
Yeah, well, the quality is not always consistent, but the release schedule is.
Hey, look, they get an album out.
Yeah.
Whether you want them to or not.
To be fair, the one we did before was literal filler music, so maybe we shouldn't have reviewed that one.
And I mean, and that's not like a diss on them. That was their words.
Yes, it was created so they could have 15 minutes between sets, where they could just play it.
Which, hey, I mean...
And I don't even think that was the most recent album. No, it wasn't the most recent album at this point. That was just one of the more recent ones we reviewed.
Yeah.
I think
there are at least so many, we just can't keep up with them.
There's 4 albums. Yeah, they're more consistent than we are.
It's like... they're releasing more albums than are releasing episodes of their albums.
But, this week we're listening to... You want to do the title, Cooper, or do you want me to?
Oh, yeah. So this title's a bit of a mouthful.
We actually can't fit it anywhere on screen. It's so long.
It's too many. But the official title is, it's shortened to PetroDragonic Apocalypse, but its full official title is PetroDragonic Apocalypse, or Dawn of Eternal Night, and Annihilation of Planet Earth and the Beginning of Merciless Damnation by King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
Yeah, the only other thing they could have done to this was collaborate with Mild High Club, so it could have been longer.
For some reason, I feel like this is not Mild High Club's type of music.
Not. So you want to do a little bit of history? We've done this a lot, so there's not a ton to say.
Yeah, we'll give some background. So, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, we've reviewed them a few times on this channel before. But they are an Australian rock band formed all the way back in 2010, the distant year of 2010.
How many albums have they released since then?
They've released like 20 albums.
Jesus Christ.
They're averaging like at least 2 a year.
This year they've already had like 3, right?
I honestly lose track of them as well. Let's see. What was their last one was no, this is the first one of
I'm thinking of
this year. 22 had 22 had Butterfly 3001, Made in Thailand, Omnium Gatherum, Ice, Death, Planet, whatever, and Laminated Denim and Changes. So that's only 5 albums. Come on.
5 albums, yeah. Okay, that's why I couldn't keep up last year. Because then 21 had 2. I could keep up with 2.
Yeah, so they're taking it relatively easy this year. It's halfway through the year. They only released this one album.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, they probably spent the first 3 months writing the title. So.
It's like the opposite of Daft Punk.
Yeah.
No, but as I was saying, it's a band consisting of a lot of members. We've already went through them before, so I won't go too far into the details. But they're known for their prolific discography, as we've already said. And for covering a wide range of genres, acid rock, garage rock, progressive rock, a lot of rock, psychedelia. But the one that they are doing on this one in particular is thrash rock or thrash metal, which they kind of dipped their toes in, or not even dipped their toes in, but cannonballed into with Infest the Rat's Nests a couple years back. But they came back to it with PetroDragonic Apocalypse, which was released just this last Friday, so just 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So this is hot off the presses. So this is actually, I was reading up on it. So this is actually the first of 2 albums, with which they're describing as like a yin-yang concept, where each one's going to be very different, but they're going to be complementary to each other. So this is the first of those 2.
Okay. I'm interested to see what the other one is then.
Yes, and I have a theory, and I'll get onto it when we get later into the album. But the lead vocalist, Stu, also stated that the album's concept is about humankind and it's about planet Earth, but it's also about witches and dragons and shit.
Fair enough.
Which I think is, I think it's fair that, you know, they're this deep in their discography and they really haven't talked about lizards or wizards all that much. So I'm glad they're really putting it all into this album.
Yeah, they have a lot of just day-to-day British life and cult.
Australian life.
A lot of cult stuff. Yeah, no, that's a good point.
So they're just cramming it all in this album. But yeah, so that's the background. You want to jump right into it?
Get in. I gotta move the track title down because it's too high up in the. I tried putting the whole thing in here. It took up half the screen. I would have to.
That would have been pretty funny though.
I would have to shrink the text so much, and I wanted to take a nap because I was setting this up before. So track number 1.
Track number 1, Motor Spirit.
And I went into this blind, right? So I didn't look up anything beforehand because there's just so much. I was like, you know what? I don't want to know anything. I just want to listen. I was not expecting thrash metal. I didn't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't this.
Oh, that's one of the fun things about King Gizzard is that they really do have a pretty varied sound across the discography.
Yeah.
So if you don't really know what you're looking for going into it, it really could be a number of things. Are you going to get another Sketches of Brunswick East, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to get another thrash metal album? Who knows?
Yeah, because I mean, I'm still trying to dig back through their discography. I think what I need to do is just what I did with Takanaka: start at the bottom and work my way up. But man, I'm here for it. Those drums go crazy at the start of this. It really pulls you in.
Yeah, they do not ease you into it. This is Motor Spirit's like just right off the bat. You know, this is hardcore thrash metal. Where it just has explosive like drum riffs and explosive guitar riffs as well. Just kind of going throughout it. Just that very metal, guttural, almost garage metal vibe to it.
And it's got that really driving guitar line as well, with it cloned in each ear. I think it has a little tiny offset for it, just so you can tell that there's two. And then, of course, they leave the main line mono.
Yeah, and even, I mean, I'm not sure. I'll be honest, I wasn't focusing too much on the mixing on this album.
It's
beyond it being the mix being loud. It's obviously kind of going for like a thrash jam session kind of thing, you know. And I mean, I should also mention, I mean, it's an average length album, about 48 minutes. It's only 7 songs. So each song's pretty chunky.
Some more so than others.
Yeah, but this one's 8.5 minutes.
Yeah. I will say, once we got to the singing, not the biggest fan of the singing style, but that's personal.
No, I'm kind of on. It's like this very like guttural, like not grungy, but like just like very back to the throat, kind of low singing.
Metal singing.
Metal singing, true. Which I mean fits the style for sure, but I'm not the hugest fan of that kind of singing.
I don't know. I thought it got better later, but just this first one, the singing just I don't know. It didn't mesh with me. And then you get to that slower section around like the 250-ish mark that goes on for just a bit too long before it starts to build. And then the sense of building that I thought it had went away at the 430-ish mark. It's like, okay, this is just, they kind of drop it all out and just made it a slower jam track that's got metal in it.
I kind of like that slowdown there. It kind of has a cool down. It's got some bongos in it.
Yeah, but when you hit with that power at the start, I was like, I kind of wish it carried the same energy throughout. But I mean, I guess it would get tiring after a while.
Yeah, for 9 minutes. I mean,
at least do it for more than 3. You know,
I mean, this album has plenty of it.
Yeah. It was just,
and I'm not going to lag it on this album
it that way. You know.
It also has this kind of like more subdued vocal delivery on that part.
Mm-hmm.
And once it gets to like the 5-minute mark, it has like this almost like distorted, like, you know, like fuzzy radio guitar riff thing going on before it kicks back into the main groove again.
Mm-hmm.
which I thought was pretty neat.
Yeah, I mean, it's overall very good. I wish it had carried that high energy from the start a little bit longer. I mean, they dropped it off by 250. You know, like it's an 8-minute song.
They bring it back. I mean, they have another beat switch at like the 6:45 mark.
Yeah. I don't know. That slow section in the middle kind of took me out of it. It reminded me I was listening to King Gizzard.
Oh, you were?
Yeah. But that's all I got. You want to jump to track number 2?
Yeah, track number 2, Supercell.
And the first one, I believe, was speaking about cars, I imagine.
A very, very Mad Max vibe going on.
And this one definitely is talking about thunderstorms from the tiny bits of vocals that I could understand.
Yeah. I wasn't paying too much attention to the lyrics on here, just having like I think kind of that like high energy, kind of semi-demonic, vibe going on.
Yeah.
Talking about lizards and wizards.
Right at the start of this one, I had like a PTSD flashback to early 2000s rock, and I was scared for a minute, and then thankfully the drums came in, and it no longer sounded like it. But just for like that first second, I was taken back, and I did not want to be there. Something about that very beginning guitar riff or whatever.
I start to see right through me on my way to you. Like that kind of.
Yeah. I think you, as you get older, you come to hate the music that was around during your childhood.
I'm pretty sure that's the exact opposite for most people, Sam. People are nostalgic for their childhood music.
But a lot of other childhood music was good. 2000s music wasn't good.
You didn't like Black Eyed Peas?
No, I did.
Gwen Stefani? Well, not really.
There's that one Gwen Stefani song, which is actually pretty good.
Oh, this one's definitely chunky. This is a chunky song.
Yes, and again drums, and then we got a nice solo at 2:35, which is a nice touch. But I was throughout this song, I was just really craving a real Van Halen solo in there, just something really, really out there and crazy.
Like in terms of like a guitar like solo popping through.
Yeah. It's begging for it. It's begging for something, some real harsh guitar work that's just flinging itself all over the scale. I wanted it, but it didn't really happen. We got a little bit of it at the 440-ish mark, but it wasn't longer, and it wasn't very high in the mix. But I kind of got my wish. Yeah,
they're kind of going for like more than like individual instruments for the most part, especially like kind of a not wall of sound, but just like a a live performance garage metal kind of thing going on.
And then this one, the singing style grew on me a bit. I don't know if it was because I'm getting used to it, or maybe it fits better with the instrumental stylings on this one, because there is a definite shift in style between track 1 and 2. You can hear, even though I don't know anything about metal, you can hear the difference.
I do like the backing vocals on this one.
Mm-hmm.
The little call and response they got going on.
The only weird thing going on in this one is there's like Donkey Kong menu music break at the 3:30 mark.
Was there? I don't remember that.
You will remember it once you click on it. It's like bongos and like no metal whatsoever. Cooper's currently listening to it because that's what he has the privilege of doing, not streaming. He can listen to the album while we talk about it.
Yeah, I guess there was a little bit of a bongo break. I wouldn't call it Donkey Kong pause music.
That's what it sounded like to me. It just came out of nowhere, and it was for like 15 seconds, and then they went back to the metal. I'm like, what the hell? Did they like take the GameCube or something? What's going on?
I mean, they had bongos on Motor Spirit as well.
Yeah, but
I wish more albums had like just the music hard stops, just whoo.
It sounds like Donkey Kong menu music, does it not?
It's bongos. I wouldn't say Donkey Kong menu music.
Cooper, Donkey Kong has the DK bongos.
Yeah, know? But not all bongos make it Donkey Kong.
No. Legally, they signed a contract.
Wow.
1472. I mean,
he is the only one who have a video game that the bongos are the controllers, so I feel like he has at least some ownership of bongos.
And if you try and say that those that drum game on the Switch is bongos, that's not. That's a Japanese drum. Those aren't bongos.
These aren't bongos, the Japanese drums. Very different.
Very different. Well, we can move on to track 3 if you're ready, Coop.
Yes, track number 3, Converge. I think this is at the point you start to realize the album is not going to let up on you.
Oh, I didn't want it to.
Oh, that's good, because they are not.
And at the start of this one, though, right for that first half a second, I thought it was Superman by Goldfinger. With that drum lick right at the start.
Imagine if they stuck in a cover of Goldfinger, but with thrash metal.
I would be down for it. I'd be interested to hear it at least. It might not be good, but it might be interesting.
It's interesting.
And I had some issues with the start of this one. I was like, man, Supercell was so different than track 1. This one doesn't sound too different. And I was like, my ear isn't tuned for metal. Pop and rock, I can say pretty confidently I know. Classical with incorrect confidence, but not metal. But then, because they did it was like the tiniest bit of a rollover. It's like the boulder's starting to go down the hill. Each song is now running more and more into the next. So after the first minute, it kind of sets itself apart.
Yeah, I think the chorus has like a little more of a, melodic feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least it's like ascending and descending. The vocals are still pretty guttural.
Yeah. Well,
that hasn't changed.
Instrumentally, it wasn't really setting itself apart. I wasn't really interested until about the 220-ish mark. They do a time signature change, which really freshens it up. I think they go to I can't even tell what they went to. I should have tapped it, but that revitalizes the song for me. Because it's everything else has been 4/4. That's what everybody always does. But then they go to something weird. It's like, ooh, okay, this is different.
Yeah, King Gizzard seems to like to mess with like time signatures or like do microtonal stuff. I think they just like beat a little outside of the box.
And that
you have to after like 20 albums.
Yeah. That's what makes music fun, playing around. I always like when people put like a waltz in the middle of a song.
Oh yeah, where you have your waltz breakdown.
Yeah, just throwing a waltz. Okay, yeah, that's great. I love that. And here they do the same kind of thing, but the other direction. There's a lot of beats per bar there. And then, we've got a little bit of the guitar mimicking the main vocal line, which is a nice touch, really drives the chorus through.
Yeah, no, it's a good thrash song. That's all I got.
Yeah, and we should say that this one has one heck of a rollover into track 4.
That's true. Track 4, Witchcraft. These songs do not have breaks in them.
No.
It's not even it's a hard-hitting song, then it stops, and then another hard-hitting song. This is just right into it, no pause.
Mm-hmm. And it immediately sets itself apart too, because the vocals are so clear. I did not realize that they had a filter, but man, it's night and day.
Oh yeah, it drops right off in it because it's still got some of that harshness to it,
mm-hmm.
But yeah, like you said, it's not, without that kind of fuzziness over it, kind of pierces through.
Which they did it so well, I didn't realize the first 3 tracks had filters on them.
Probably doesn't help that it had so many instruments surrounding it that you can really pinpoint it out.
Yeah, and the heavy metal singing, that too. Yeah, this one really didn't catch me at all. There's a breakdown at the 2:45 mark that doesn't hit it. It's interesting. It has an interesting beat, but it's very stripped back and loops too many times before adding more instruments in, and then that just keeps going and going and going.
It's where where the bass line comes out
at the 2:45-ish mark.
Yeah, it's has a kind of a bass breakdown, and then it starts layering instruments back onto it.
You say it starts laying instruments back onto it. There's one instance where they put some more instruments in, and then they continue to loop it for another 45 seconds.
But it has microtonals, Sam. You love microtonals.
Yeah, but the loop's too short. There's just there wasn't enough going on there.
I thought it was going for a hypnotic, witchy thing,
Well, it missed the mark then for me.
Well,
I don't think it's
I
bad.
liked
It's just not a lot going on.
Well, then how about we go on to track number 5?
Yeah, see, you don't even have anything to add about it. Don't be calling me out.
I already said my piece. Go to track number 5, then Gila Monster, which was the lead single of the album.
Yeah. I noticed that when I went to their page, and it was at the top of the most played on Spotify list. Because they don't actually take into account numbers; they take into account current frequency,
recency. Yes, I always thought it was a little confusing.
Yeah, I don't like.
I feel like they need 2 lists, right? Like the most played and like the most recent played, yeah, or like popular, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Anyway, yeah, we got some fun guitar work at the start of this one, and the vocal filter comes back because there wasn't really vocals in Witchcraft that I noticed, or at least not much.
Yeah, I mean, this one's, I think it's probably the most straightforward out of all the songs, maybe because it's it's the single. It's also the shortest one. It's got like this kind of, catchy call and response chorus. Well, not really even call and response, but just like shouting Gila over and over again. I'm guessing it's like a Godzilla, like, shortening or something like that.
Well, aren't there things called Gila lizards?
Is that a thing?
Gila monster, that's what it's called. Yeah, it's a type of lizard.
Okay, well, they are lizard. Oh, the last song was about wizards. This one's about lizards.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's a venomous lizard native to southwestern United States and northwestern Mexican state of Sonora.
Oh, well, there you go.
It's kind of cute.
Oh, now I gotta look it up.
They're like as big as your forearm.
What? Oh my goodness. Yeah, they're not that scary looking though. I guess they kind of look a little like Komodo dragons.
If you look at them from above, they kind of look like those cute the fat tail geckos.
Yeah, I think that's why they're cute. Their tails are so like chubby.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the fat tail gecko lizards. What are they called? Leopard geckos. That's what they are. Those are the ones that drop their tail. They keep all their fat there. Anyway, back to the song.
Yeah, I was going to say these are not as scary looking as the song makes them sound like. No, but it's this is our lead singer's single, so it's got like that catchy hook. Obviously, the guitars are going off as well. It's sticking with the thrash energy. Mm-hmm. They do not let go of that.
I noticed this in a couple different songs. They throw in like a woo after a vocal line, and it doesn't feel on brand for metal for some reason. That feels very poppy.
I think they're just adding a little bit of fun. Yeah. I get the sense they're having a lot of fun with this album.
Yeah.
So that for me is just like literally like they're performing in the studio and just feeling up to it.
And I would have thought that the Gila monster chanting would have gotten old, but it actually never really did. It was probably because the song was so much shorter than all the rest of the other songs. But
yeah,
it was nice. A bit of a miracle musical disease there around the 4-minute mark. Not a full style change, but it sounds like a song switch. Which to be
kind of like a not breakdown, but where the guitar riffs get like a little slower.
Yeah. Yeah, to be fair, quite a few songs have that because it's, 9-minute songs.
This one, they just get a little taste to it.
Yeah. Well, we can jump to track number 6 then, if you're ready, Coop.
Yes, track number 6, Dragon. Dragon what? This song. It's the longest song on the album.
It is very long.
It's almost 10 minutes long.
Yeah, it starts, nice fast pace. You got the drums going ham again, which I found out was an acronym. Did you know that, Cooper?
What, going ham?
Yeah.
What's it an acronym for?
Hard as a motherfucker.
Oh, huh.
I had no idea. Or maybe that's one of those things where the internet added a acronym to it.
Like it retroactively became an acronym?
Maybe. But then we get the slow breakdown that kind of loses it for me. It strips away a bit too much, and the vocals really don't carry the weight of it. and then everything goes at 3:45, and it's kind of just the vocals, and that's not really great. The bass and the drums right after that point are really nice, but they kind of try and put everything on the vocals, which just crumble.
Yeah, for I was running a little out of steam for me at this point, if I'm being honest. Not that I don't think it's a good performance of the thrash, but it is unrelenting.
See, I was the opposite. I was like, "Come on, get that energy back up. Stop trying to take things out. You have it good there. Leave it there."
Honestly, this album could just be their live set.
Yeah,
it feels about as much, right? They probably will be. When they have another one of their 3-hour super concerts.
Yeah,
man.
But if we've had first breakdown, yes, but what about second breakdown?
It's a 10-minute song.
Yeah, but this one is much more interesting. It uses the gaps in the music rather than stripping things out, which I think works a lot better for this style of music. Because you have everything in there, but it's just not playing constantly, and that's interesting, and it's not empty. And it leads into a great guitar solo, albeit very short. They really are not committing to any solo on this album. They're all like 20 seconds or less.
I guess they're just kind of going for like snippets, or I'm not sure of like how that works, like a studio session of like how much they planned out these songs, or whether they just kind of had a central thesis and then it's kind of riffed among it, right?
Maybe, yeah.
Like a thrash jam session.
But what I really want, just a nice chunky guitar solo in at least one of these songs. It is begging for it. It needs one. And of course, being a 10-minute song, this one feels like a couple of songs in a trench coat. It has some good moments, it has some bad moments.
Yeah, it's certainly a little bit of fat on this song.
Yeah. But that's track 6. If you're ready to jump to track 7, Coop.
Track 7, the final one, Flamethrower. Which, I mean, it starts off as a thrash metal song.
Yeah. Guitar follows the vocal line again, which I think is done better than the first time, in my opinion, on this one.
Well, King Gizzard, I mean, they've got these like thrash or heavy metal albums, you know. This one, Infest the Rat's Nest, you know, Murder the Universe.
Mm-hmm.
It's like these really heavy, guttural, obviously kind of tongue-in-cheek lyrics, but just like going all in on it. And then they also have those super, whimsical or like soft or floaty, you know.
Dream balloon.
Yeah, paper mache dream balloon, where it's all acoustic and they're having fun, or like sketches.
Sketches of Brunswick East, yeah.
And I personally prefer the singing on those kind of albums opposed to their harder stuff. I don't know. I just think the kind of lighter, sweeter vocals work better for the lead vocalist here. Now, it's clear they're having fun on this, which I can appreciate.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to listen to, I think, one of their thrash things in the past. I couldn't do it, but this time I got into it. I was down. I like when they go a bit faster, which is what this one is. It suits the style better, and then the tempo drops out again, and it just feels stripped back. Not as bad as previous, but it's just not great. And of course, it's a new song because this again is almost a 10-minute song.
Hey, it's only 9 minutes and 21 seconds.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, a whole 40 seconds off. The weirdest thing for me was the last 3 minutes of this song.
And that's where my theory was in. You know how I said it's like going to be like a yin yang album thing, you know, part 2. I'm thinking this is what part 2 is going to be more like.
Which I am 100% down for, but bringing in weird synth, all instruments are placed with their electronic equivalents in the last 3 minutes of an album. The drum set goes to a drum pad. I'm not a big fan.
Yeah, which within the context of this album, it doesn't make any sense. If my theory holds true, and it kind of like that's what their next album's going to be like, then I think it makes more sense if it's planned just like as a part 1, part 2. But for this one, it's like, you know, it's like you're playing Dungeons and Dragons and you suddenly got like dropped to like, you know, Cyberpunk or something.
Yeah. And the other thing I really disliked is, man, the song just peters out. Like, if any song or album is deserving of a big build and a hard cut, it's this. You don't just peter out thrash metal. What are you doing?
Yeah, it's a bit of an odd ending note. It's an interesting way to end the album.
It is interesting. I mean, and if your theory is correct, I will forgive them. But man, just for this is not. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, but it's the dichotomousness when you're so consistent throughout the album, and then to like the last 3 minutes of your last song. It's a bit much.
Yeah. But
or maybe not enough.
That's well, we'll get to that. That's the album. We'll do let's do our least favorites first. What is your least favorite track, Cooper?
I'd probably have to say Dragon.
Really?
Personally. I don't know. At that point, it just started to lose me. I started to glaze over a little bit. In terms of, like, I didn't think it added anything particularly new to the format by this point in the album. I mean, it had some build, had some breathy vocals, but kind of at this point, it was a little over the thrash sound. At the very least, the Flamethrower had that kind of interesting synthy breakdown thing, which, while I didn't think necessarily fit there, was at least, doing something a little bit different. But this album's a bit unrelenting, and Dragon was, like, I guess, kind of the capstone of that.
See, I think I'd either have to go for Witchcraft or Flamethrower, but for opposite reasons. I didn't think this album took it far enough.
Wow.
I feel like they pulled back way too often. If you're going to do thrash, you got to commit, man. And there was a lot of breakdowns where they just pulled everything out, and they kind of did their traditional thrash filter on their stripped back breakdowns, which really did not work, and especially in Dragon, that was probably the most egregious example when they tried to have the the thrash vocals hold up the song, which really did not work whatsoever. But if you're gonna do it, you gotta commit. You gotta have that hard guitar, drums all the way through. Maybe cut some fat so it's not as long, and that way you can sustain the energy throughout. But man, I was at the end of it, I was just like, they just could have pushed a little bit harder, Which is completely the opposite of the way you were feeling it.
I was about to say, we're complaining about different songs for exact opposite reasons. Yeah. Interesting.
And then I took a nap, so maybe there's something wrong with me. Oh, that was some good thrash metal. You know what? I'm gonna sleep now.
Kind of tired out.
Maybe this is just telling me I need to listen to some harder music.
You need your fix.
Yeah, I guess. I've been listening to too much. I have been listening to... Well, I'll get to that later. But what about your favorite? What's your favorite song then, Cooper?
I think Motor Spirit.
That's a good one.
In terms of... I mean, I liked Gila Monster. That's kind of like a succinct thesis of the album, But it's just like an opener, just like... I like the explosive, opening to it. I liked the lyrics of just like shouting about, cars and motors. The sing wasn't like my favorite, but that's kind of throughout the album, so
yeah,
doesn't necessarily put it above the others. I know, just a solid built song. I like the little dips and like the little pullbacks it had here and there. Kind of leave things interesting. I just thought it was a great opener to the album. So I'd have to say Motor Spirit. What about you, Sam?
I'm gonna have to go with Supercell. I think it is the epitome of what this album is, or it's the most perfect example of what this album is. Because it's got everything. There's no weird pullbacks other than that weird Donkey Kong music break in it with the bongos. But everything is there. The only complaint is the guitar solos aren't strong enough or mixed high enough. That's the only thing wrong with it, in my opinion. It is very nice. The vocals mesh better. It's just it feels it's the little pearl in the middle.
Okay.
Well,
we're very for a 7-track album. We had very different opinions in terms of best and worst.
Yeah, I just wanted I wanted more thrash. We got to rate the album now.
That's true.
And it has been so long, I don't remember whose turn it is.
Oh, well, I'll take it if you're fine.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Go ahead.
Of course, being car enthusiasts, motorheads, as they call us. we made our podcast car themed. You know, we watched Cars all the time as kids. And now we've grown up, we've matured. Now we only watch Cars 2.
Never planes.
Never planes. Actually, I did watch that for a class on fire safety.
I'm
But
afraid this is the last episode of the Audio Shop podcast with this new information coming out.
it was planes, fires, and rescue. It's about wildfires. It's educational.
Not educational at all.
Well, the planes don't talk in real life. But as such, our rating system is car themed. With at the tip top, you've got a showroom. That's the cream of the crop, the best of the best, right? The what we want to listen to every day of our lives, and then show to everyone else. And then all the way at the bottom, you've got scrapyard. That's the ooh yuck, get it away from me, bottom of the barrel. You know, just complete grossness that you never want to touch or hear again. Then you got like new, fixer upper, used rental in the middle. We might give it high or low depending on our feelings for the day. So with that in mind, Sam, what would you rate PetroDragonic Apocalypse by King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard?
Oh, shit, I should have been thinking about it, shouldn't I?
Well, yeah, you did have like 2 minutes there when I was talking.
Yeah, and I realized you were going to ask me in the last 2 seconds.
I've only done this 102 times.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give it a low like new. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I think it with a little bit of polishing it could be better. It's a very low like new though, possibly a high fixer upper. Just there was just enough wrong to where I think you should listen to it, but it's only like just off the middle of the road, right? So I'm on the fence. I'm leaning. So maybe it's a better high fixer upper, but it's right on that line, a like upper, if you will, or a fixer new. What about you, Coop? What are you thinking?
I'm feeling a high fixer upper myself personally. Well, I think it's a decent album overall. I just don't think I'm crazy into the thrash. I can recognize they have good performances here. I think they're clearly having fun with it. And I mean, King Gizzard obviously knows how to put together an album. They've done it more than most people.
Yeah.
But this album's just like so unrelentingly thrash. Like every song is thrash, which I mean, that's obviously what they were setting out to do, and they accomplished it. But for me, I need a little more variety in my album experience, right? When it just hits you over and over and over, it starts to lose its effect. Yeah, I don't think there's anything particularly bad about it, but just wasn't my cup of tea. And maybe their yin yang thing they do here for their next album, I'll be interested to see how that kind of loops back into this one.
Yeah,
Let's see if I'll enjoy it more.
This definitely might be a one of those things where it's better in the future because you've got the both of them.
Yeah, retroactively, kind of double feature.
But that's the album.
Yeah, that is.
And now we're gonna roll on over to the spare tire, which is just whatever else we've been listening to the past week. Although now it's the past half month,
past couple of weeks.
Yes. The first one was Cooper. The second one, I actually had something going on for once on a Sunday. And I wasn't about to try and drive back from Ohio any sooner. We had that valuable time at Jungle Gyms. I couldn't do without that. Get me my job.
I do like Jungle Gyms.
It was my first time. It was pretty cool.
It's a pretty cool store.
Got so much alcohol. Had a pint while we were walking around the store. That was nice.
Goodness.
$4 pint. That's pretty good.
It is pretty good.
I don't think it was a full pint though. It was in a plastic cup. I don't think that's pint glass sized.
Not quite, but
maybe it's fatter. I don't know. I might be wrong.
But what have you been listening to then, Sam?
Well, I've been still on a very heavy Daft Punk kick.
Couldn't shake it.
Nope. Been listening to a lot of Touch and oh shit, what's the other one? Shit. I am drawing a blank. I have to pull it up. Hold on. It is... Come on. Digital Love, of course. Listen to a lot of that in Face to Face still, of course.
Good songs.
But having some tough times at work, so listen to Touch on the way home from work and cry. That's a nice little pick me up after work. And then I tried to listen to. You wouldn't believe who just came out with a new album, Cooper.
Who's that?
Our old friend, Mr. B, the Gentleman Rhymer.
Really?
June 13th.
Wow,
It popped
so
up
very
on my
recent.
Spotify. I started trying to listen through it, and ooh boy,
Not great.
No, not great. It's a 34-minute album, and it has 21 songs.
Wow, he's going for those micro pop songs, huh?
Because I was like, he's experimenting with sampling, but then I went back and listened to the one we did before, which was what was that one? That was Can't Stop, Shan't Stop. And he samples in that one too. I just don't know. It didn't have it. I don't know what it is, but it didn't have it. It just felt a little sloppy. Granted, I haven't made it through the whole thing, but some of the songs are like 40 seconds, and you get one chorus in there, and it's 25 seconds of the song, and it loops. It's like, I don't know. It's just not great. And because I went back and listened to some of Can't Stop, Shan't Stop. I'm like, okay, there's actual, there's sustenance, there's substance here. But I don't know. Maybe this is just a compilation of everything he worked on, because his last album came out in 2020, and that came out in June. So he was working on that up until the pandemic, right? So this is probably just a compilation of a bunch of things that he had been working on over the past couple of years during the pandemic, and maybe they just didn't get fleshed out, or I don't know. I don't follow him that closely. It just popped up. So
yeah, just a kind of a mix of what's it called, like cuts, like on the like cutting room floor.
Yeah, maybe, but
little ideas I just wanted to toss together.
Nothing really grabbed me on that, and some of the mixing was a bit sloppy as well. So it was kind of sad because like he's actually pretty good. So I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but also of course more Takanaka. Haven't made it through any more of the albums, and I think I listened through all of Ice, Death, Planets, Lungs, Mushrooms, and Lava by King Gizzard and Lizard Wizard.
Of course.
A couple weeks ago, but I think my phone automatically shuffled. So I'm going to listen back through it in order.
In actual order.
Yeah.
That one was all right. It wasn't my favorite, but
I enjoyed it pretty good. Which is why I want to listen to it again, because I'm like, oh shit, I didn't listen to it the way it's supposed to be listened to. Because I'm sure
it would have been my top 3 albums of King Gizzard and Lizard Wizard from 2022, but oh goodness.
Anyway, what have you been listening to, Coop?
I've been listening to a smattering of things. Colin Stetson just released a new album that I quite enjoyed. He's like I believe a saxophonist or a horn player overall. And his very dark kind of sound that he goes with that I thought was interesting. Listen to What Is Your Name? They just released an album called The Now, Now, and Never.
The Now?
No, The Now, Now, and Never.
Oh, okay. You got me excited there.
It's an honest to goodness Midwest emo album.
Better
return to form. Honestly, very big like American football vibes on that. Artist named Adoy just released an album that I liked. My little brother released a piano album that, of course, I like.
Check that out then. I played. I think it was when we were traveling in Ohio. I played Griffey Lake because Jonah and Carbon hadn't heard it before. And they were very impressed.
Here, I'll copy the album in the chat. It's I'm very impressed with it. I know he's been working hard on this.
Yeah. We should probably also put it in the main Discord, not just here.
Oh yeah, that too. I just wanted to get it directly to you.
Yeah, I'll have to give that a listen then. I don't think I've listened through his other one all the way either, because I just keep getting stuck on Griffey Lake, because I really enjoy that one.
It's a great song.
It is.
And also just listened to a new McKinley Dixon album, which was like kind of a rap jazz album that I quite liked as well. So there's a little smattering of things I was listening to.
Yeah, going all over the shop.
I like my music being buried. Different moods for different times. But yeah, that's what I got.
Well, that's the podcast then. So I guess we got to wrap up. If you've liked what you've heard and you want to hear some more, and you're on the Twitch right now, you can scroll down on the page, click Jeff Lynn. He's the guy with the fake afro and the aviators on. That'll take you to YouTube, where almost all the past episodes are. And if you're on YouTube and you want to listen to us live, 8 p.m. Eastern, usually on Sundays. We're not having a good track record this year so far, but that will get you to us and hear us live. If you've got a suggestion, you can leave in the suggestion box. We've touched that once. For the past
We're always listening to that.
We've touched it
and
once every 3 years. Yeah.
And the one time we touched it, we listened to the wrong album. So
well, no. Then the next time we touched it, we my audio got screwed up, so that episode couldn't even go out.
Yeah, that suggestion box is cursed.
Yeah, so maybe don't actually leave anything in there. We're more likely to review your album if you don't send it there. And then is Twitter still a thing, Cooper? I hear that's coming crashing down. Do we have an alternative yet?
Twitter is still a thing, so you can follow us at AudioShopPod. That's POD on Twitter. We'll let you know what album we're listening to and when we're listening to it. If you want to give it a little listen ahead of time.
Well, that's the album then. So thank you all for listening, and we will see you next time.
See you later, shoppies.
See ya.